Coming up in this edition of the 2018 FIFA World Cup magazine, we're in the Ural mountain city of Ekaterinburg. We check in on the progress of the city's new stadium. And we learn about Ekaterinburg's musical side with a Russian rock legend.
You know, when people ask, what is happiness? Well, it's when you go to work, come home, and you feel good in both places. This is happiness to me. My happiness exists here at FC Ural. It's my life, and I enjoy it very much. I can truly say I'm a happy person because I do what I love.
In Ekaterinburg, football revolves around FC Ural, the only representative from the Sverdlovsk region in the Russian Premier League. First established in 1930 in Uralmash, the industrial part of the city, it is from these working-class roots that the club forms its core fan base, loyal supporters who gather en masse to follow their beloved bumblebees.
First of all, our club is 85 years old, and its history stems from a factory team that went through the leagues. Up, down, and back up again. So I've seen it all in my life as a fan of this club. Personally, I have a love for FC Ural and football, which will never leave me. This club is what I dream about and what I work for. It truly takes up half of my life.
I always dreamed of seeing the team play live at the stadium. And 5 years ago, I moved to Ekaterinburg and my dream came true. I was able to watch my favourite team live at the stadium. It was a hugely emotional moment that's hard to compare. It's a totally different experience. The atmosphere is amazing, and you feel a completely different set of emotions to when you watch it on television.
Football is worshipped in Ekaterinburg. It's the #1 sport in the region, despite the fact that most of the year it's winter here.
Even if the fans are used to it, it's terribly cold to watch a match at temperatures below zero. We're thankful for their encouragement and for coming to all of the matches, whatever the weather. It motivates us, and we try to repay them when we are playing and bring them happiness.
Last season, the club struggled retaining their Premier League status via the relegation playoffs, but lately they've seen vast improvements under the guidance of head coach Vadim Skripchenko.
When the coach arrived, we didn't have a clear way of playing. Now, through his hard work, tactically, every player knows what they're doing, and we have real direction in the squad. This has definitely changed the team for the better.
We are trying to compete. Perhaps it's difficult to compete for the title in the long term, but we see examples like Leicester City, and they compete. So why can't we?
To date, the club's highest ever finish in the top flight is 8th. They're currently mid-table, and Urals fans are hopeful that their recent resurgence is a sign of a bright future.
Football is all about emotions. It's a whole different life. And when we support our team, all of our emotions are pouring out. This is football. This is life.
The most popular chant in the stadium is Ural onwards.
Onwards, Ural!
Street art has been in Ekaterinburg for a long time, and for a few years now, it's been called the street art capital of Russia.
In the mid-1990s, graffiti art became prevalent across Russia. Born from youth culture, it began to flourish amongst the underground scene, and individual artists emerged around the country. Bridging the gap from the street to the mainstream are Stenografia. Based in Ekaterinburg, they provide an outlet for street art to be showcased to wider audiences.
When Stenografia emerged, the public had a negative opinion of it. Our work was stereotyped as vandalism, not art. But in the last 5 years, we've been creating public demand for street art. Now, when artists are creating art in the city, people pass by and say thank you. Sometimes workers from nearby offices bring tea, water, and even food for them. So there's a constant dialogue with the public, and it's very positive. Stenografia works with the younger generations, and we attract young artists who try to paint illegally. We lead them onto a legal path and show them the direction a street artist should take.
Working alongside Stenografia is the design studio Street Art, a collective of artists and designers that create commissioned murals across the city.
We don't just write words on walls. Firstly, we develop designs attributed to different ideas and create a template to work from. Street art is about emotion. An artist must connect with the message they're trying to convey and connect with their feelings in order to create something honest. We created the first institute for street art here in Ekaterinburg and built a solid foundation to support artists and help to continue its progression as an art form. The internet gives us a great platform to showcase our work and to preserve it forever. It's an important new factor because street art works are often short-lived, and in the past, it was very frustrating for us as works would be removed.
During the 2018 FIFA World Cup, Stenografia will organise walking tours and exhibitions across the city, allowing visitors the chance to experience the street art for themselves.
The city has a surface layer which is there for all to see, but there's also an exciting and passionate layer beneath: rock music, street art and contemporary architecture.
You must come to the city of Ekaterinburg to see the street art. No photo can recreate an atmosphere you can experience for yourself.
On the pitch, the road to Russia continued as the second round of Asian qualifying reached its conclusion. In Group B, Australia faced Jordan, with the victor poised to top the standings and progress to the next stage. In front of a passionate home crowd, the Socceroos dominated the first half, with forward Tim Cahill claiming 2 goals either side of an Aaron Moyes strike. A further 2 goals from Tom Rogic and Massimo Luongo rounded off a comfortable win for Australia as they look to qualify for their 4th consecutive FIFA World Cup finals. Group E also saw a top-of-the-table clash as Japan met Syria in Saitama. With the 4 best second-place teams qualifying for the next round, the Blue Samurai were already guaranteed of progression, while the visitors were looking to secure their passage. The hosts took the lead in the 17th minute through an unfortunate own goal from Syrian defender Hamdi Al-Masri. A further 4 goals in the final 24 minutes, including 2 from midfielder Shinji Kagawa, saw Japan secure top spot comfortably, having not conceded a single goal in qualifying. Despite the comprehensive defeat, Syria still progressed to the 3rd round of qualifying as one of the best second-place teams. Sitting second in Group H, Korea DPR travelled to the Philippines, needing a win to keep alive their hopes of automatic qualification. In a tight opening half, it was the hosts who opened the scoring thanks to Misa Bahaduran's header. The Azkal's lead, though, didn't last long as the Koreans drew level through So Kyun-jin. Ri Hyok-chol then extended the visitors' lead in the 48th minute. Unswayed, the hosts continued to press, and midfielder Manuel Ott equalised 6 minutes from time before Ian Ramsey scored a 90th minute winner. With results elsewhere going against them, this marked the end of the road for Korea DPR as they were eliminated from qualification for the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Following the result in Manila, Uzbekistan were assured of top spot in Group H heading into their match against Bahrain in Tashkent. Having narrowly missed out on qualification for the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil, the home side have been in fine form in qualifying and secured their 7th victory in 8 matches through Sardor Rashidov. And finally, in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates played out a hard-fought draw against Group A leaders Saudi Arabia. The visitors opened the scoring through Tassir Al-Jassim, before Omar Abdul Rahman levelled matters for the hosts in the 54th minute. The point was enough to see the home side join Syria, Iraq and China in the next round as one of the 4 best second-place teams. 11 of Russia's cities will host the 2018 tournament. Here to tell us about his hometown is a well-known comedian.
My name is Sergei Asayev. Welcome to the wonderful city of Ekaterinburg. I love my job because thanks to it, I can bring joy to the people of our city and our country. The language of humor is an international one. It's understood everywhere. So I'm pleased that I can tell you about my city, Ekaterinburg. I graduated from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, where I joined the KVN Entertainment Group, which is known by many today as the Uralski Pelmeni Show. This city is geographically unique because around 11 kilometers from here is the border between Europe and Asia. Here you can have 1 foot in Europe and 1 foot in Asia. It's definitely worth seeing this important geographical and historical place. You can tie a ribbon to mark your visit on one of the nearby trees, or simply taste our fantastic Ural pelmeni here. When speaking of the architectural monuments in our city, of which there are many, Sevastianov's house is the most famous of all. It's a key attraction, situated in the center of the city, the heart of Ekaterinburg. Every resident has either walked by it or taken a photo of it, but in every case, everyone in Ekaterinburg is connected to the city through a picture of this wonderful house. Of course, one can't forget about the highest building, not only in Ekaterinburg, but in the entire Asian part of Russia. It's the Vysotsky skyscraper. From the top, you can get a panoramic view of the whole of our wonderful city. Ekaterinburg is the heart of the Urals. Its friendly and soulful people look forward to your visit and will greet you with open arms.
In preparation for the 2018 FIFA World Cup, the city's central stadium will undergo major redevelopment. Like Moscow's Luzhniki Stadium, this project will see the combination of old and new, with the original stadium being reconstructed to form the new 35,000-seater Ekaterinburg Arena. First built in 1953, the stadium's new look will include a roof and a number of temporary stands while retaining its recognisable facade, a move designed to preserve the architectural legacy of the city's famous landmark.
Overall, the history of the stadium encompasses over 110 years. So on this spot, there's always been an arena where sports events were held. Regarding construction, we will retain the original architecture of the structure, and a neutral facade will be built on top of the historical part. A neutral facade that will accentuate the historical and architectural past of the building.
Designed over a period of 5 years, the stadium is a central part of the development of the Ural's biggest city. And since construction started in July 2015, the surrounding area has seen considerable transformation.
There's always been a dream to unite the old historical part of Ekaterinburg with the more contemporary areas of the city. The decision by the city to choose this particular stadium to host the World Cup matches is ideal because it will allow the stadium to become the new centre of a contemporary part of the city. It will help rejuvenate this area of Ekaterinburg. Such a large-scale event like the World Cup requires a substantial improvement in the infrastructure of the city. First of all, the development of a new transport system for safe and efficient travel of the fans, as well as restructuring the entire customer service system, developing hotels, catering and tourism in preparation for the matches.
As the easternmost venue to host a match at the 2018 FIFA World Cup, the stadium will play an important role in the development of sport in the region. And with FC Ural set to move back in after the tournament, its legacy will continue well into the future.
This is the final stage of new life and new impetus with this major development in the city. But more importantly, it's a chance for popularity to grow, not just for football, but for sports in general in Ekaterinburg and the entire region of the Urals.
It's history, it's transformation, it's the future.
In Russia, the city of Ekaterinburg is synonymous with rock music. And there is one man in particular who is a legend in these parts.
I am Alexander Pantikin, host city ambassador for the World Cup in 2018 and the grandfather of Ural rock. In this concert hall, some of the most famous rock festivals were held in our city. And it's also where me and my rock band, Earth and Juice, started playing. But that was 30 years ago, when the rock movement in our city had just begun.
In the late 1960s, the Ural rock and roll scene emerged in Ekaterinburg. Influenced by British bands like the Beatles, Alexander was at the forefront of the movement. From composing musicals to writing scores for film, he's a pioneer for music not just in this city, but across Russia. Alexander finds inspiration in an unusual location, a former Soviet bunker.
As the third cultural capital of our country after Moscow and St. Petersburg, Ekaterinburg enjoys a special place in the world of music. The people of this city recognize me as the founding father of the rock music scene. That's why they call me the grandfather of Ural rock.
In
the past, several generations of rock bands emerged that were already playing music which was popular in America, England, and Europe. But they had no musical instruments. So they started making guitars and building speakers in order to get closer to what they had heard in the records. This worked out quite well, so that by the end of the 70s, many rock bands established here in this city became popular right across the entire country.
We are ready.
Currently flying the flag for Ekaterinburg and Ural rock is the band Nieva. Prodigies of Alexander's, they have a growing fan base across Russia and Europe.
We used to play acoustic music in small bars to small crowds. But now, the four of us have come together and stepped up a gear. We've started to treat music differently, with drive, energy, and a more polished sound. Alexander has guided us, ensuring we stay true to the traditions of Ural rock, which is important. We often interact with each other with regard to music, and he's very supportive of us, which is a big help.
The most important thing is that the tradition of rock and roll in Ekaterinburg has never ended. We have groups that were born in the 70s and 80s, and new young groups emerge every year. One of them is Nieva, who haven't just impacted on our city, but are beginning to leave their mark on the entire country.
Whilst Nieva continue the legacy of Ural rock in Russia, it is the 2018 FIFA World Cup that can allow the world to experience it for themselves.
Besides football, the creative side of the city is very important, and I've always been interested in the relationship between sports and the arts. So what have I done? I've put together a team made up of musicians, artists, poets, actors, and together we will rehearse in preparation for shows during the World Cup. Whether it's Moscow, St. Petersburg, Ekaterinburg, Kazan, or any of the other host cities, we'll all be creating such an environment that any visitor who comes to our country during the tournament will feel at home here.